Hello and welcome to another ProATCX tutorial video. My name's Clive, aka Alpha117, and I'm the forum moderator across on the ProATCX forums. This video I'm going to talk to you about and show you how to set up the background ATC chatter files and how to set up the regions and countries so you have the right ATC files playing in the right areas of where you're flying. First of all, some of the basics out of the way. I'm recording this on the 12th of February 2013 and I'm using version 1145 to record this video. If you're using a previous version, you may not have some of the functionality, so I would advise you to upgrade or update your version to the latest version. If you're watching this shortly after this recording, then this version may not currently be available, but will be available very shortly. So this is what it's going to be about. So I say this is going to be about the setting up and using the background ATC chatter files. First of all, I just want to say, so everybody's aware, that these background ACT chatter files are just random files. They bear no resemblance to the other aircraft, the AI aircraft you see in your area, whether it's up in the air or at the airport while taxiing, etc. So these are just random chatter files that are pulled from the internet. Some came with ProATC, and a great guy, a guy called Ralph Zimmerman, has actually re-released his vast collection of ATC files and redone them purely to work alongside ProATCX. So first of all, let's have a look at the file structure that you have, and here's mine. Yours might not be like this. You can see here I've got quite a few ATC files for various airports in Canada, and also for various places and countries and oceanic as well. The structure of these files and these folders are quite versatile, so there's no structure as per se into these, but we try to make it quite simple and straightforward so everybody can understand. So let's have a look at one first. Let's have a look at the UK. Let's double click the UK. Inside the country one, you'll see a global file. Inside the global, you'll see the folders that are set up for different parts of ATC, and the self-explanatory: approach, clearance, center, departure, ground, high frequency, tower. You can set whatever folders you want in any order that you like, but we try to give some kind of structure so as you built up your collection of ATC files you wouldn't get confused. So obviously inside each of these subfolders in approach, here are all the approach ATC files that will play when you're on the approach frequencies. And the same it goes on for ground, and here's all the ground frequencies there. So that's the UK one there. Have a look at the USA one, which has got a slightly different structure, and you'll notice here that I have a KLAX folder outside my global folder, and inside here I have approach and tower for KLX airport. And in here are all my approach ATC files for KLX, and obviously in here are all my tower files for KLX. So also, as you'll see in here, there's a global folder, and slightly different, and I've set these up slightly different to the UK version, but we've got approach ATC 1 to 3, clearance delivery, clearance, center, departure, ground, high, super high, and tower. Now I'll show you in a minute why these are quite these have been split out for the USA, and it's the way Ralph has reorganized his files for us to use in ProATC. So as you can see from here, you can set these folders up however you like. If you look into one of my Canadian airports, I've just got it there, and it will play whatever it says there. So these are set up there. As I say, they're not a robust structure. You can structure them how you like, but we try to get you to try and keep them quite organised for that. And if you look in here in Switzerland, I've got approach, ATC 123, clearance delivery, departure, ground and tower. So that's how these are initially set up. Where do you get these files from? These are available across the internet. I've put a link over on the forum to a nice collection of ATC files. So you have to go and find them, search the internet, or purchase Ralph's fantastic ones for the US, especially you guys who fly a lot over in the US and Canada. So that's how you set these folders up. Once they are set up and you've got all the folders set up, how do you know what sound files go in what folder? So for example, how do I know that these are centre folders for the UK, or centre files for the UK? There's only one way of finding them out, and that's to actually listen to them. It didn't take me long to set all this up, to be honest, and once they're set up, it's a simple process. So just spend a bit of time listening to them and say, okay, that sounds like an approach file, put it in the appropriate approach folder. Okay, so that's how you set your folders up. Let's now have a look within ProATC. So this is the opening screen here. How do we set up a background? Well, it's in data, background ATC. And here you'll see all the countries being set up, and we're going to go through all these tabs at the top here now. And by the way, I'm just moving, if you've forgotten, I'm moving this map around by holding my left mouse button down and then dragging the mouse around. I can zoom in and out by using my mouse wheel. So that's how that works out. I'm going to set on to the UK because it's quite easy to do. Okay, so let's have a look at then the first button here. Obviously the first one is exit, is self-explanatory. Edit profiles. If I click that, it brings up the edit profile screen. Down the left hand side here you see all the ATC profiles that I've created for my use here. And if I just click, for example, the USA again, you can see here, this is where you tell ProATCX of where to go to get the correct ATC chatter files. So for example here, I've got USA and I've got clearance, so folder for clearance delivery sound files, and all you do is point to the right folder by clicking that and pointing to the right folder in here of where you've stored your clearance delivery files. And you do that for every single bit here, so approach, departure, tower, center, high altitude and super high altitude. Okay, now here in the US we have an option here of setting the flight levels for when the high altitude sound files play. So I've got mine set to default, so they'll start playing from flight level 230 and will end at flight 7270. Once I go above 270, then these super high altitude files will kick in as well. So that's just a matter of that. So you set your profile and you set that up there. Notice here a little tick box here, play sound files alphabetically. So if you've got them sorted alphabetically, especially Ralph, this was for Ralph in the US, they will play in sequence. Come into the UK, and it's the same thing for the UK again. You can set low, super high, etc. here, the same as you did for the US as well. And that's all there is to it, from that to that. How do you create a profile? Very simple. New profile, give it a name, click OK, and then fill in the boxes. And that's that. Once you've done all this, click Save. and that's your profiles created. So we've created some profiles, and what we need to do now is to tell ProATC when to play these sound files. We can do this by a very high level, at country level, at region, radar sector and airport level. Let's look at country level first, and I'm going to use UK as an example here. If I want to assign my UK profile, which I've got here, look, my UK profile here, I have to tell ProATCX what countries in the world are going to play the UK files. I do that by simply doing this, right clicking a country and it goes green, and you have the option here to assign a profile or cancel, and I can cancel out of it. I can right click, assign a profile or cancel. If I click cancel, it's still highlighted, but I just right click on an area out of the way. Now let's just say use UK. I want to set the UK itself. If I hold my control key down, I can multi-select different parts of the country there. So I've got in the Shetlands up there, and I can assign profiles, and from this drop down here I select UK. Okay, set profile for all airports and set profile for all radar sectors. Because this is the highest level, it will then automatically select UK for all the levels underneath the country. Okay, if you don't want to do that, you then just untick those boxes there. So that's as simple as that, really. Okay, and that's all we need to do. So let's just have a look at region. Region brings up a region box, and I'm going to move across to, cancel that for a minute. I'm going to move across to the US, because this is quite important. If we look here, and we know that and you guys have probably got Ralph's files, and I wanted to select America and Canada to play these files. I could do it two ways. I can select countries, or I can select a region. Doesn't really matter, because I can then just click and drag this box around by using the handles on the corner and select the regions I want to, assign a profile, and do the same process again. I'll come down to USA and select them that way. Okay, so that's a region. Alright, radar sectors, very similar, exactly the same, but now we're drilling down to slightly more smaller areas, and we can select the regions by right clicking, and we can select multiple regions by holding my control key down, and then assign profile again. And if you've got sector files, then you can select the sector profile that you've set up there. Okay, so that's selecting all those, and I just deselected them by just re-clicking them again. Oh. Okay, so that's sectors. If you want to drill down to the lowest level, airports, like I've got some for Canada, and we can drill right down to the individual airports. Okay, right click the airport, assign profile, and fill in in my case, alright, some of the ones up here. And I haven't even set my Canadian ones up yet. Okay, so you've got the highest level, which is the country. Okay, right down to the lowest level, which is the airports within a country. And you can select any of these in between ones, the radar sectors, the regions, the countries. So that's really about how you do that. How do you know what profile's been assigned to what country? You'd think if you click the country, it will come up here, but there's no link at that level. If I come into radar sector and I right click a sector, it tells me here what profile is assigned. If I come down into France, I know I've got France as setting for France. I've got DE, EDK there for that. So we come down to radar sector and right click, and it tells you okay what files or what profile you've selected for the countries. And that's about it really, of how you do that. One more thing I just want to show you, that if anybody is having any problems with FSX pausing when you're using the background chatter, one of the things that you can check and to make sure, if you come into your control panel here and come into sound, and you'll see your playback device here. Mine's the speakers, obviously I've got speakers attached to mine. If you find your playback device, right click it, select properties, and then come into the advanced tab, and just make sure in this exclusive mode there's no ticks in any of these. Alright, and what we found is that if these are ticked, then there's a bit of a pause, or FSX seems to pause for some time, and that's purely because if FSX is focused, then it will take the sound and use that exclusively for FSX. And be aware you've got FSX and ProATC trying to play sound at the same time, so they've got to share the sound device. So just make sure there's nothing in that one there from that one. That's a handy tip, and that's already on the FAQ on the forum as well, guys. Okay. Another thing to be aware of also, if you come into, and I'll close this map out, if you come into options and hit sound here, you'll notice here background ATC minimum intervals in seconds. You can drag this from 90 seconds all the way down to 15. That's the interval in seconds between each background file playing. What we found is on some machines, if you set that to 15 seconds, it was overloading the system, and you was getting hanging and all sorts of issues with that. So it's up to you to decide what's best for your system, where it is from there. And just because it says, for example, if it says 90 seconds there's a built-in randomizer within ProATC that will just randomize that a bit one way and a bit the other, so you don't get, it's not bang on 90 seconds every time. So it gives you a bit of variety. It's the same if you set it down to 15 seconds. It's not saying that each background file will play every 15 seconds. It will be 15 seconds, then probably 25 seconds, then 10 seconds, then 30 seconds. So it's within a time frame. But you've got a bit of that randomization there as well. Okay. And once you've done that, just click save there as well. Also, finally while I'm on here, and it may seem really, I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, guys, but if you can't hear your background ACT file, just make sure you come into here, make sure you've got a tick in that box. Okay, and then it will work there. Okay, so that's it for this one. A lot shorter than the other ones I've done. I'm going to put, you'll see this very shortly, up on the normal place, and I'll post in the forum when this is ready. Again, if you've got any questions about this or anything, then please drop us a line, or leave us a post in the forum, and we'll answer this as quick as we can. Okay, thanks for listening, and happy flying.